After we had told the group that I had served, all right, we're going to start a business. Yes, we'll try to service you this next year with this type of design and software. Give me a little bit. I've got to go out and create a pitch deck and do that kind of thing. So we take about a month doing that. We both had full-time jobs. And after about a month, this doctor calls me and he's like, "So do you have the software done yet?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't even started. I'm going to go out and find some investors, and like we're a long way off from having software." And he said, "Okay, well, why don't you come talk to us? Like, we're investors. Come to our board meeting on Friday." And I'm like, "All right, I'm going to come to your board meeting on Friday." And so, yeah, I didn't have a company name, no bank account, no pitch deck, no nothing. And we kind of hunkered down and finished some of that stuff. I wouldn't even say finished all of it before that Friday. Drove out to see them. It was like 4 or 5 hour drive. And
so I had a presentation at a local healthcare MGMA meeting, and instead of pitching my company at the time, I did something different, and I just was like saying, "Hey, guys, I'm going to take a minute," and then we all 9 to 5 clock in. We forget just how amazing it is that every day we're touching people's lives in like significant ways. You had like, I forget some of the terms on it, right? But the maternity folks, and you had the ER folks, and you had like the oncology folks. And it's like, we're either they're bringing people into the world and it's the most amazing time of their life, or there's people that are passing away and we're touching them. Like,
right.
This is an amazing job. So I said something like that, totally changed up what's the usual thing for the people that sponsor the lunch. And a guy came up afterwards. He's like, "Man, hey, I just wanted to say that was really cool. I loved your, what you said." And so we got talking. This guy's a freaking data analytics guy. He was the exact guy that we needed to build the product that we wanted. And it was completely change it up talk that I did. And it got us the guy that
that's right.
could build the software. And then we took him on Friday, right. To the investor meeting, and we got the deal. I mean, I got to say this: how they ended up investing. It was a most interesting thing, because we had really scrambled, and we were headed out there on Friday, and we had really scrambled. And let's say the board meeting was at 4 p.m. We had to leave by like 10 a.m. to make it out there, and I get a call at like, hey, I think maybe we were on the road. The three of us were on the road. We were going out to make this pitch to them. And they knew it was an investment pitch. Like, they had invited us thinking that it was an investment pitch. And they called us, the administrator of the group called and said, "We've actually decided that we can't invest." And like, I think we were in the car driving when he called me. And I was, it was just that sinking feeling in my stomach. I'm like, okay. He's like, we talked to our lawyers. We think that it may get us in trouble investing, Stark law, all of these things that go on between doctors and anti-kickbacks and all of that stuff. And we think that it's probably a bad idea for us as a group to invest. I said, okay, well, I understand, that's not what I wanted to hear, but I understand. He's like, "So we would rather just prepay you, for your services." And I was like, "Oh my goodness. So wait a minute, you're giving me the same amount of money that you were planning on giving me before, and then you don't want any ownership." I'm like, that's the best call that I've had, in quite some time. And so we went out there. The pitch was extremely rough. It didn't matter though. They were going to invest either way. We could have saved our time and not driven out there, because the relationships that had been built and the trust that had been built. And as a matter of fact, they said, "We want to give you this money." And it was a significant amount of money. "We want to give you this money. Who do we send it to? What do we make it out to?" We didn't even have a company name at the time. And so had a company name made up, went and got a bank account with it. And we wound up rebranding into something else later, but they sent the money without any paperwork. There was no paperwork involved with this at all, other than just, "Hey, we know you're going to do us right. Go out and kill it. We're willing to take a little bit of a risk." And so 2 of the doctors actually wound up investing as well individually. And the interesting thing about that is they both did it
sight unseen. They didn't see any software. As a matter of fact, they didn't even really. I came up with some paperwork, which was probably horrible if you go back and look at it right now. But they trusted me and my team and gave us money, and so that was really the start of what is Visualize Health right now.
Yeah, love it. So how did you end up with Sharecare? Like, that's a Dr. Oz.
Yeah.
That whole
really interesting. And like when you and I set out to start the company, the end goal was to sell, right? It was never to be a legacy company that we handed down to our children and that type of thing. And I think that most entrepreneurs are like that. They want to sell, they want to be done, they want to move on to something else because they want to do it. We're not maintainers, we're builders and painters and artists. And so the ideal always was to sell. It was just to the right person. As things progressed, we started doing really well. There were a couple of big contracts that we had, and one of the contracts, Sharecare actually ran into. It was one of their current clients with one of their product lines. They were trying to start a product line that was Visualize Health. It basically was Visualize Health. They were not nearly as far down the process as we were. We had a software that was built. We had customers that were happy. We had all of that. And so they were out pitching this new product line to one of their customers, which happened to be one of my customers. And so they pitched this person. They're like, hey, we have the software. Here's what it's going to do. And what do you think? And we'll give you all this. And they're like, hold up. We have Visualize Health. It's awesome. We will never go away from Visualize Health. So, stop talking now. And they said, well, who's Visualize Health? And they're like, this guy, Rob Bramblett. And it's funny because we were talking about connections. I had made a connection years before in this particular market and just this one consultant, and we had become friends, and he had gone to work for Sharecare. And he knew me personally. And he's like, I know Rob Bramblett. He's like, that's awesome. And so he's like, he told all of his counterparts, and then he's like, let's go meet with them. They're up in Nashville. This group was down in Mobile. He was like, let's go meet with them. They're up in Nashville. So they called me and set up a meeting. And basically it was probably a reconnaissance meeting, more so than, let's high five and be happy for Rob. It was like, what's he doing and how can we subvert it and do it better? And that was probably a year and a half before the acquisition actually happened. And so we saw them, kind of poking around. Yeah.
This is one thing I like about you, Rob, is you. It's like a yin to my yang, I guess. Like, I can be very careful. You are much more. Let's check it out. I probably, if I was still operating in there, I'd probably have been like, let's not meet with them.
Yeah. Let's not meet with them.
Let's make sure we have meeting.
All of our lawyers present.
Anyway, I appreciate that. It's a good balance. Yeah. Anyway, good job for going to that meeting. Yeah.
Well, they actually came to our place, and we met with their senior team and senior team of that division, and they went about another 6 months of trying to do what we did, and they never were able to do it, which is, they could do something really well, but they couldn't scale what they were doing really well. It required a lot of manpower, and our particular process was opposite of that. It was no manpower, and we're doing things without manpower, and that was the beauty of what they were wanting. And so they started talking to us about, hey, would you guys be open to an acquisition? Actually, they said, would you partner with us first? We'll just white label your product. And I was like, sure, I guess that's fine. Wasn't super excited about that. But they had 8,000 customers. And so was super excited about the potential for 8,000 customers. And so, that excited me. And they eventually came back and said, look, if you're not interested in selling, we're not even white labeling. Like, that's not really what we want to do. We want to buy. We want to acquire. And I'm like, I want to sell. So this is a good partnership. And so that process itself was probably stretched me thinner than any process I've been through.
I don't typically work really hard, at least not at that. I have set hours that I want to work and do, and it was incredibly difficult, and the hardest I've probably ever worked over an extended period of time. As a matter of fact, I had a panic attack, which is crazy because I don't consider myself a panicker, but I had a panic attack when it came all the way down to the wire, and the pressure was so much and the stress was so much, and it was kind of a health scare for me. And we got all the way down to it, and there were 3 of us at the time. So Dave, you had sold, I believe you had sold your ownership to go start your thing at this point in time. So there were 3 of us on my board that were making the decision. And we had gotten all the way up to about 3 days prior to closing. And one of the 2 partners, who was not the one that was involved, but said, because of something that one of their lawyers has said, or one of our lawyers had said, basically was like, we're not doing this deal. He's like, I don't want to do this deal. Let's walk away from it. And I'm like, you haven't been involved in the process, and while I appreciate you trying to, inject some wisdom into this particular subject, you're killing me, man. Like, I don't know that we can walk away at this point in time. We've spent almost $200,000 in legal fees. Forget the rest of it. We spent almost $200,000 in legal fees, and our sales were flat because I was the sales guy, and I was spending, I'd spent probably 4 or 5 months only working on this, and so I'm like, I don't know that we can. I don't know that this is going to that we can walk away from it at this point. We have to move forward, and so we did, and he was in agreement. It was one of those things where it was a knee-jerk reaction to something that somebody had said, and so. We moved forward, and it was definitely the best decision that we had ever made, because we closed on February 12th, and COVID had just kind of started, but it really hit about a month later. Like, everybody was like, uh-oh, this is a thing. Let's shut everything down about a month later. And in the process, a lot of the programs we served were Medicare. It was federal government programs, and they said the words that you always don't want to hear. Due to the regulatory burden, we have suspended this program. And they kind of cut our knees out from under us on a couple of programs that were our bread and butter, and so we lost a good portion of our revenue due to that. Now, we went with a conglomerate that was, had 3,500 employees and was in, multiple countries, and just really, really big, deep pockets. And I think Reuters listed it 2 days ago that Sharecare is planning on going public. And so that's just kind of the icing on the cake for my little company that started out with, you and I on a card table, in your dining room or my dining room. Then, when we sold, I think I had 13 employees, and the company is about to go public. So
yeah, I can't believe you haven't upgraded the logo yet. I mean, I created that logo.
You did, and as a matter of fact, this is funny. I know we're running short on time. I've actually I got a hard stop here in just a little bit, which, by the way, is one of the things that people now say all the time, along with, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was muted."
I say that too, even though it doesn't matter. It makes me feel like more important.
Yeah, it does make you feel better. So one of the things that was funny, right after we closed. So this was February, maybe the end of February. I went to a national meeting with this company and started meeting all of these people. Anyway, they have this one guy that is in charge of specifically visualizations. And so I give a demo of my beautiful baby to them, and everybody's excited. And the whole sales team's like, yeah, we want to sell this. And everybody's like rah-rah and high-fiving and on a high. And this guy, I believe he was Ukrainian, just real quiet, real quiet guy. We go and we start walking down the street together to go to dinner. I think we're in New York City at the time, and we're walking down the street, and he's like, you violated every rule of visualizations that there is. And this is funny because I've just shown my baby, and number one, it made me think, well, number one, Dave did it. It was all Dave's fault. And then I was so mad because I'm just like, I just sold this company for a lot of money, and you're telling me that I violated every rule. I'm like, who are you? And why would you do this? So it turns out he's head of visualizations for the company, and he does, and he's really good at his job, I'm sure. maybe a little bit, but he's like, you use the wrong colors, you use the wrong schema, you use all this stuff, and I'm just like,
I just sold my company to yours. So I don't know what in the world you're talking about. So it was kind of a funny thing. And I think there was some cultural differences. He didn't realize that he was being really insulting to me. And he actually came back and apologized later. But I was just thinking about that because not only did we not ever change the logos from when you designed the logo in the very beginning, but we also didn't change the color schema or any of the ways that
I love the color scheme in the screen.
Yeah. Well, according to this Ukrainian programmer who's supposed to be the best in the business, you violated every rule possible, but I appreciate it anyway.
So you're good, man, right? You made good money on that.
I did. It was yeah, it was
this is a great story of
32 money.
Yeah. So happy for you, man. Yeah, especially with the new news.
Yes.
Well, awesome. Hey, thanks so much, Rob. Great catching up with you, and we'll catch you soon, man.
Yeah, enjoyed it. Let's grab the coffee sometime.
All right, let's definitely do that.
All right.
I gotta go. I got a hard stop.
Good for you. Me too.
Yeah. All right, man. Catch you.
See you.